Movie Club Hacksaw Ridge edition.
We got a super edition here for this one.
4 of us. That's Pat, that's Rob, there's Justin, and I'm Joe.
Hello.
That movie was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
I am exhausted just from sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
I worked harder watching that movie than I think I did at work today.
Yeah. So who wants to...
You go first.
It was, it was an absolutely amazing film. It's tremendous. I mean, Mel Gibson, however you may feel about the man, he's a magnificent director, and he hits it out of the park again.
And he doesn't soft pedal anything.
No.
He
doesn't.
No.
He doesn't.
That's a sledgehammer movie.
Yeah.
Holy moly. It's like getting punched over and over again.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I kept jumping. I'm watching, I'm going like this. I'm like literally like covering my face.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The acting was phenomenal also.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
start to finish.
The acting was great. It was realistic. But I also liked the way that he took you from the serenity of the Blue Ridge Mountains into the hell that was Hacksaw Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
But he carried that sort of mountain theme and that climbing and the conquest all the way through from the very first scene to the very last scene. And I won't talk about it, and do the spoiler.
Can we talk about the combat for a second? I feel like that combat, with each scene it was just magnified, and the timing. I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
Like usually you have time to settle,
Right.
and like get a feel for the scene.
Yep.
But he just nailed it out of the park, and it felt like I just came back from Japan.
I mean, it's like when you watch when I watched Passion of the Christ. I was like, Jesus would have died 15 times already from all the blood that was spilled.
Right.
And the combat scene in this movie, the combat scenes in this movie were just like that. It was like, hit you over and over again.
But I don't think they were overly gory.
No,
I'd
they
seen
weren't.
some reviews that had said that they had, that it exceeded Saving Private Ryan in the gore, and I disagree with that completely. I think what he did was strike a perfect balance of the true violence and hell that war is. I mean, yes, you saw what war could do. Yes, you saw the way that it ripped people apart. But it wasn't gratuitous. It was realistic.
And that's a real war.
Right.
That was hand-to-hand combat. That was guys on the ground, boots on the ground. That was people really getting shot, really getting blown up, really landing on hand grenades. Not like now they throw tomahawk missiles in from the ocean.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the messages of the movie, and a lot of people are going to miss it. I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, but he saved Japanese too.
Yeah.
He was a conscientious objector. He had a deep faith in God. And that faith said to him, it did not matter whether it was an American or a Japanese. It was a life, and it was a life that belonged to Christ, and he had a duty to save that.
Right.
And I think a lot of people will go over that and miss that, but I applaud Mel Gibson for really making that point in the movie if you took the time to see that.
Right.
Yeah. What it really kind of builds on that. What I truly just loved about the whole movie, I mean, we've grown accustomed to our heroes in the movies. They pick up the gun, they shoot the bad guys, and this is a movie where he never touches it. Well, he does, but it works out.
But that's funny, that one scene where he does touch the gun. And Vince Vaughn, you got to talk about Vince Vaughn in this movie.
Hilarious.
Because you expect Vince Vaughn, yeah. But the comedic timing in a drama, the way that he brings it, I mean, it's some comic relief, but he plays the serious part to perfection. And that scene, though, when Desmond picks up the gun and Vince is there and sort of covering, I mean, what a scene! What an incredible scene!
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you sort of knew that Vince Vaughn would be the last guy he saved.
Yeah.
And you knew that would be like the climax of his heroism.
Right.
But it was still played to perfection.
Oh, absolutely.
Really was.
But the one thing, Vince Vaughn was hilarious. But he's always hilarious. Even when he's shooting the gun, I'm like giggling to myself.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm gonna be honest, that's true. I mean, Vince Vaughn firing a BAR is comedy. I mean, he's got this tiny little gun in his hands, and and the are going down, and I'm like, that's Vince Vaughn. I mean, you know, where's Jennifer Aniston? I mean, you know, it was amazing.
Yeah. It truly was. I mean, it's like, you know, even though like you kind of, I feel bad like just watching him because there are times I'm like, oh, just shoot them already.
Yeah.
But he sticks to his guns, and it's a hell of a story.
And there was redemption across the board. His father was redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
his fellow guys in his company were redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
The captain, you know,
Everybody was redeemed, but he was redeemed. You know, it brings me back to that.
And the good thing, one second, I'm sorry, Rob.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
The good thing is it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's a true story. It's not just some Hollywood ending on, oh, Justin's a swell guy. He's starting this thing. Let's redeem him. And Rob is his father. Let's redeem him. This all really happened.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
how it actually played out.
Well,
in
and you know,
real
at
Yeah.
the foundational scenes in the beginning, the scene with the fight with the brother,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can imagine that happening. I mean,
And
you
I
can
didn't
see
see that
it.
coming.
No, not at all. Not at all. But you can see how that was part of what formed his conscientious objector, you know, status and belief. Is I mean, he didn't lack courage. I mean, he didn't lack valor. He just did not believe that it was his purpose on this planet
Well,
to carry a rifle.
I think
to
he
kill.
did a good job. I mean, over the course of time, it was what, 16 years.
Yeah.
They managed to build a character very well. So by the time he actually stepped foot on the battlefield, on the ridge, you kind of felt the character was there. He was there. Like, you felt like, you know, you could stand behind his morals and his objectiveness.
But even with all that, none of the build-up to the Hacksaw Ridge attack could prepare me for what was to come.
Right, though?
I mean, there was nothing.
That was
there was
insane.
nothing that could prepare me once that first shot was fired for what was going to follow. Because and you know, we talk about our World War II vets, and you know, and they were the silent generation. They never talked about their war. They brought it home with them. But then you see a movie like this.
Did you have any relatives who are World War II veterans, Rob?
My grandfather.
Did you know him?
Well, yeah, he was a great man. But he never really talked about the war. Won a Purple Heart. As a matter of fact, he was in Italy, and he was shot with a machine gun. And he carried those bullets around with him for his entire life, and he lived into his 90s.
Take shrapnel.
He took shrapnel also.
I had my Uncle Charlie who passed away a couple of years ago, and every time I was with him, I would ask him stories. And he was like, I was a communications guy, ran wires.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, yeah. And you're still more of a hero than I will ever consider possibly being.
It's true.
My grandfather served in the Atlantic and the Pacific in the Navy, and pretty much came. We had to delete some apps to keep this going so we could have more space on the phone.
Thank you, Apple.
I guess it's time to upgrade to a 7 and more space. But anything else? Or we're straight up to letter grades.
Yeah.
Letter grades. I'm giving it an A. A for across the board. I give the special effects an A+, and I give the second half of the movie an A+.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those movies that you will watch when it's on TV, when it's on cable. You'll watch it over
and over
again. So yeah, it's an A, absolutely an A.
Yeah, I think from
you can go A- if you want.
Start to finish, the thing here, this is where I'd have to deviate a little bit, where I could get maybe a little critical. When I did watch a lot of the reviews, when you compare something to Saving Private Ryan, you really think it's going to be a war-drawn movie from start to finish, where, like, you know, something like Saving Private Ryan or you know, A Thin Red Line, they're boots on the ground in the beginning of the movie, and there's bloodshed all the way through. There was like a good amount of drama in the beginning, which was
the love story.
There was a love story in it, and it was nice because it was great acting and character building. So as far as a war movie, a hard hardcore war movie, I'd say maybe like a A-, B+, but overall movie, everything considered, definitely an A.
Okay, but let me just ask you something. If that was war, the way he filmed war from the beginning to the end, would you have been able to actually sit through 2.5 hours without coming out with post-traumatic stress?
I feel like I have post-traumatic stress right now. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, Pat, you were sitting next to me. Was I not jumping around?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, oh no, oh my God. I was like covering my face and jumping out of my seat. It was crazy.
It was.
I'll say that usually I have a good feel on who's gonna die. Like, oh, he's gonna die, or he's gonna. You get that like feel. I had no idea who was gonna die.
Yeah. The one thing. This is not a criticism. I just hope for it. Hollywood, they should have made him stay naked for the entire. Not the entire movie, but
spoiler alert.
All the basic training.
You must be enjoying that, you naked gazelle.
It was so freaking funny.
That scene was hilarious.
Oh my God.
That's old school drill sergeant.
Oh,
you
yeah.
couldn't do that stuff today. I mean,
Not anymore,
they've
no.
PC'd the hell out of it. I mean, that's old school. That's when they turn boys into men.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
All right, so Pat, your letter grade?
I'm gonna go an A. There's a part of me that kind of wants to go A- because while most of the beginning was very good, there was a little bit. It did kind of veer cheesy at moments. So, but other than that, I mean, it's something that easily. There's a lot of it that does build for the whole story, so it does have value. So
Andrew Garfield is a movie star now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was phenomenal as Spider-Man. He's been other things. He's been good. But this catapults him.
He gets an award for this one, I think. I think he's up for an award.
You think this
and
is a
Mel,
movie?
Oh,
An
yeah.
award movie?
Oh yeah, and I
It's an
think
award movie.
Mel, as much as Hollywood disdains him, I mean, I think Mel's up for an award for this.
He may not win because Hollywood doesn't like him so much.
Right.
But he's definitely nominated. Garfield is nominated.
Yeah.
It depends on what comes out in the next month and a half or
Right.
2 months. But Garfield's definitely
makes
Vince
me-
Vaughn is going to be nominated.
Oh, definitely. It makes me want to see what Mel comes up with next.
Yeah.
And by the way, Vince is the only one that gets a reasonable shot
He'll
of
win.
winning an award because everybody loves Vince Vaughn.
Right.
Who doesn't?
Right.
And the supporting actors awards are usually the sort of like
Yeah.
kitschy, cool parts.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think Vince could actually win. But,
Oh, he was so
so good.
so funny.
So, anything else, boys?
No.
That's it.
That's
All
it.
right, take 3. We have to delete more
I'm
apps.
deleting everything on Pat's
We're deleting
phone.
everything.
Yeah, I have nothing left on my phone.
All
Nothing.
right, so that
But you've
was
got
it.
us.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So that was Hacksaw Ridge. A's across the board, I think.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was fantastic. Next week is Arrival.
Arrival.
Oh, I can't wait for Arrival.
And then the following week, we will be in Allentown reviewing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
That is going to be an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that is truly going to be an incredible visual. That's a movie I almost want to see in IMAX.
We'll see if JK can write American well.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
see.
true. That's true.
So this is Midnight Movie Club. That's Justin. That's Rob. That's Pat. I'm Joe. Thanks and see you next week.
Hasta la vista.